Hello and welcome to Nutshell Recaps. This video explains the synopsis of the movie Till Death. Warning, there will be spoilers, so proceed with caution. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, it will really help our channel grow. In the movie's opening scene, Emma, the main character, meets Tom in a hotel room and the two of them have a drink. There is not a lot of context given here, but Emma feels disoriented and informs Tom that they are unable to see one another any longer. Emma is adamant on having an extramarital affair despite Tom's efforts to persuade her otherwise. He implores her to come back the next day, but as she exits, Emma declines because it is her anniversary. The following day, when she visits her husband Mark at work, his assistant greets her with flowers and wishes her a happy anniversary. A secret police file describing the moment she was robbed and stabbed years ago is discovered by the woman as she enters her husband's office. The next scene is a flashback of a botched robbery attempt that resulted in the assailant's eye injury. When Emma's husband Mark interrupts her while she works, we learn that Mark is a well-known attorney whose most recent case involved withdrawing the parole of the person who had previously attacked Emma. Emma inquires as to whether he misses locking up inmates rather than keeping them out, but Mark, who now works as a criminal lawyer, responds that he prefers the money. Tom joins them on the lower floor when they get into the elevator. Now that we are aware that Tom had an affair with his boss's wife, the two of them must maintain their separation. As Emma and Mark head to a restaurant for their anniversary dinner, Mark presents her with a diamond necklace. Emma had also given him 2 Super Bowl tickets as a gift, but he rudely pushes them away, complaining that the team is bad that year. They then see a man propose to his girlfriend across the room, and Emma Longsley remembers the time when she was content with her husband. At this point, we also discover that they have been married for 11 years as Mark puts the jewelry on her. After supper, Mark covers Emma's eyes with a blindfold and surprises her by taking her to a remote lake cottage where they used to vacation when they were kids. When they get there, Emma decides to go around the house and discovers a dim room filled with photos of the two of them. She smiles and spins some records as she remembers all the fun times they used to have. Emma ascends the stairs and enters the bedroom after following the rose petals, where she discovers Mark waiting with 2 champagne glasses. He sincerely apologizes to her for not being a decent spouse and requests that they make an effort to make things right moving forward. The two then start making love to one another. When Emma awakens in the morning, her husband is seated on the bed next to her. When she arrives, she discovers that Mark has her wrist bound to his, and he then fatally shoots himself. Although Emma tries to yell for assistance, nobody is in sight. She tries to call the police, but the phone is dead. She also tries to shoot the chain with the gun, but there is no more ammunition. She is forced to bring Mark's lifeless body with her to the walk-in closet, where she discovers her bridal gown hanging. She removes the dress, revealing a safe hidden behind it. Emma places the garment beneath Mark's body to help moving him around easier. But as she prepares to go downstairs, she unceremoniously falls down with the body. She tries looking for her phone, but finds that it has been submerged in the flower vase, and upon fishing it out, learns that it is unsalvageable. She checks every drawer and cabinet in the kitchen, where she finds a car key. Emma then struggles her way into the car with Mark's dead body literally weighing her down. When she attempts to start it, the car won't start because the fuel tank has been completely emptied. Her and Mark's wedding song suddenly starts playing. With a recording of Mark's voice passive-aggressively, it explains that he did this to her because Emma was ungrateful. He discovered her relationship with Tom, as it turned out, and was unwilling to grant her forgiveness or even the right to a happy existence. Emma goes back inside the house to clean the blood off her face, but finds she cannot take off the necklace Mark gave her the previous evening. She becomes frustrated by this before she has an alternative thought. She proceeds to the basement in the hopes of finding some hardware there, but regrettably, it has been completely cleaned out. She recalls the day she wiped lipstick and glitter off of his shirt and launches into a tirade about how Mark was a hypocrite because he has had his share of affairs with many women as well. She takes him back upstairs in frustration and collapses to the floor in exhaustion. When Emma returns to the dark room later, she discovers the mugshot of the man who assaulted her during the attempted robbery flashback we saw earlier. Additionally, she comes across a record player that reads "Play Me" and starts playing it. She then bitterly discovers that it is a recording of her being questioned about the heist attempt. Despite succeeding in stabbing Emma in the back, the assailant also managed to injure the other person, most likely by stabbing him in the eye. Emma loses her temper because she is unable to listen to the rest of the audio because of her past trauma. Emma notices that a person is standing outside the door when she enters the living room again. It turns out that Tom, the man she had a relationship with, is the one. Tom claims that after receiving a string of texts from her indicating that she is in distress, he rushed to her rescue. We all understand that Mark sent those texts, not Emma. Tom informs Emma that the FBI raided Mark's office and that Mark's entire carrier was on fire after noticing what is happening to Emma. Now that she has an explanation for why her husband shot himself, Emma informs Tom that they must immediately contact the police because she believes Mark has devised a cunning scheme to frame them. However, as Tom exits the vehicle to retrieve his phone, they notice a truck driving toward the lake house in the distance. Tom, who is wary, makes the decision to go and orders Emma to only open the door for him. Tom confidently addresses the man who steps out of the truck as it approaches the lake house. Jimmy introduces himself and says he is here to repair a burst pipe. Tom urges him to go and offers to pay him what you would charge for the work. Another man named Bobby exits the car and performs this as Jimmy prepares to leave. The two men break inside the house as Tom is being stabbed repeatedly. We discover Jimmy's compassion while discovering Bobby's extreme cold-bloodedness while Tom is bleeding down on the floor. Emma has exited the house, dragging Mark's lifeless body behind her as she moves. The two guys are still inside the house. In order to stop having to lug Mark's body around, she moves over to the boatyard and cuts off his arm. After a short while, Jimmy and Bobby find the body, but Emma is gone. Emma is concealed just underneath them, but they are unaware of it. Emma learns from their talk that Mark recruited them to come here, offering them access to the lake house's safe that contains diamonds. Now that she has seen Bobby's face, she knows that Bobby is the man who previously attacked her. But now that Mark has passed away, Bobby and Jimmy are searching for Emma since she is the only other person left who would be able to figure out the safe's combination. After the two men have left, Emma emerges from hiding and has an idea. Bobby goes to recover Mark's body after Jimmy examines the safe and explains to him that the safe needs both a combination and a fingerprint. Emma is currently hauling the petrol tank for the boat through the snow, but then Jimmy leaves the home to seek for her, and she almost gets caught, but she manages to slip inside the vehicle garage and starts to try to pump the fuel into the car's fuel tank. Unfortunately, there is some noise from this process, so Bobby goes to look. In order to prevent Emma from taking the automobile, Bobby circles the area and slashes a tire. Emma hides under the vehicle. Emma sneaks out of the garage and away from Bobby. She returns to the house as Jimmy is dragging Mark's lifeless body inside. Emma gets stuck on the stairway between Bobby in the basement and Jimmy in front of the door because Bobby, who is suspicious, is trailing her closely. The clever Emma presses the alarm button on the car key, which successfully distracts Bobby and Jimmy, making them rush back inside the garage. Emma uses this brief opportunity to mourn over Tom's death, while outside the house, Bobby explains to Jimmy that he refuses to let Emma walk out alive because he's still bitter over the fact that she put him behind bars for the past 10 years after the failed robbery attempt. They return inside the house again and continue to look for Emma, knowing that she must be inside the house somewhere. Jimmy stays on the ground floor as Bobby goes to check upstairs. Before heading up there, Bobby hears a commotion in the attic. As he enters the attic and starts to check around, Emma emerges from concealment and strikes Bobby. Emma not only succeeds in knocking him out, but she also succeeds in knocking him to the floor below. When Jimmy heard the noise, he hurried upstairs to find his brother unconscious. She then took his car keys. Emma smashes the doorknob, hits Jimmy with a golf club, and locks him in a room. As she approaches the automobile, Bobby, who is now seemingly awake, stops her from starting it. Emma is able to reach for a phone during this time and dial 911. Jimmy approaches them and begs Bobby to give up and leave before the police arrive. But Bobby is too obstinate. He then kicks Emma until she is unconscious. When Emma awakens, Bobby and Jimmy are moving the safe closer to her while she is once more chained to her deceased husband. When she tries to explain that she does not know the safe's combination, Bobby does not believe her and starts beating her until she submits. Jimmy, the sympathetic one, tries to stop him when he threatens to stab her once more, but Bobby brushes him off. Jimmy, who is tired of all the violence, suddenly grabs Mark's gun and points it towards Bobby. Emma announces abruptly that she will reveal the code if they release her handcuffs. Jimmy complies with her instructions, and she then gives them the safe's combination. Sadly, when the safe finally unlocks, it is empty but for a piece of metal with an inscription stating that the diamonds within the safe were transformed into the necklace Emma is wearing right now. When asked why she cannot open the necklace to remove it, Emma starts to worry. In order to obtain the diamonds, the cold-blooded Bobby is willing to do everything, including decapitate Emma, but Jimmy will not allow it. Jimmy is pushed out of the way by Bobby as he attempts to fire the gun, but it is not loaded. He then starts to fight Emma, but Jimmy intervenes and the two brothers start fighting. Jimmy was instantaneously killed when Bobby unintentionally rammed his head into the clothing rack. Bobby pauses in surprise as Emma stands up and grabs a knife in the area. Bobby then turns to face her and threatens to kill her. Once more, they fight, but this time Emma succeeds in hitting him with a large instrument. When she tries to flee, Bobby pursues her once more, but this time he has Mark shackled to him. As Emma moves to the garage and enters Mark's vehicle, Emma panickedly backs the car up, smashing through the garage wall, then drives into the other vehicles while Bobby follows closely after. When she is unable to move the automobiles, she drives forward and strikes Bobby. The vehicle, however, slides in the snow and hits the boat garage. In a homicidal frenzy, Bobby, who miraculously managed to stay alive, stomps over to the wrecked car, but Emma is no longer inside. He spots Emma scuttling across the ice lake and decides to pursue her. When they battle again, Emma manages to stab him, but when his body strikes the ground, the impact cracks the ice and they both fall through. More fighting ensues as they are submerged, but Emma manages to free herself from his grasp by removing the knife from his shoulder. Emma then swims upward, cutting a path through the ice. Emma is shown lying over the frozen lake as the movie comes to a close. Weak police sirens can be heard in the background as she pulls off her wedding ring and throws it into the river.